So today's webinar is entitled Preparing Spiritually for School to Be Out. I'm Robyn Harvey. I'm the Director of Training and Technical Assistance here at Be Strong Families, but most importantly, I'm a mom of 8 boys, and they all went through these school years, and I had to prepare for school to be out for, I don't know, almost 20 years. And I'm joined today by Tiffany Murphy, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello again. I am Tiffany Murphy, the training and technical assistance provider. And oh, wow, Robyn, I was a sports mom. And so when my kiddos, which are 26 and 22 now, when they were getting out of school, I just had to decide on which way I was going to go because I was traveling. But one thing I was not going to get was a minivan because just made me feel older.
That's so funny. All right, Andrew, go ahead and flip the slide. We're going to talk the cafe questions today. We're going to talk using our Journey to Vitality cafe cards. These cafe cards are all based on the 6 domains of wellness. Today, we're really going to be focusing on spiritual vitality and social vitality. The first 3 questions are really about spiritual vitality, which has been our sole focus for our webinars this month. Spiritual vitality is a feeling of, or is feeling completely alive and full of positive energy. So you'll see questions in this domain focus on cultivating spiritual virtues such as creativity, hope, love, faith, courage, humility, and kindness. And then the last question is getting us ready for next month, which we'll be focusing on social vitality. And this is really all about your support system and the joy that friends and family can add to your life. So in this domain, you'll see questions that focus on the energy that the people currently in your life support and reinforce. If you haven't seen our Vitality Cafe cards, you can visit our website and take a look. You can go to the next slide, Andrew.
So, Robyn, our first question is how does having your kids out of school affect your spirit? How does it affect your energy? I remember always keep in mind those agreements, right? Make sure you're using those I statements. And if you want to share, um, you can raise your hand and Andrew will unmute you, or you can put your comment in the chat. Oh boy, Robyn, when my kids were in school and they were getting out, I had to quickly think about like on my feet, what are they going to do in the summertime? Because they couldn't stay at home with me and I had to go to work. So the park district was always available. Um, and because we lived in low income housing, we always had a $10 voucher. So we didn't have to pay like the $500 or anything like that. So I utilized that to have them go to the park district where they did swimming and they went on field trips and they went to the beach. I was a little worried with the beach part, but I got over my worries.
Yeah, so this question for me is it kind of happened in developmental milestones. So like when my kids were little, like in elementary school, I was really a stay-at-home mom. And so having my kids home kind of filled me with dread because they were here. Hi, Ruby. They were here with me all the time. And that is a lot of energy that I didn't have in the house, before. I was able to clean up or to cook dinner, prepare stuff, do laundry. When I was had all those little kids with me, I had to make sure that they had activities. So at first it was kind of dreadful. Like I would always be like, oh my gosh, school's going to be out. We have one more week. What am I going to do? And then in middle school, that's when the sports started. So that was a different kind of like dread and excitement because it gave us a schedule. Everybody had camps and practices and all kinds of things. So we had to like really be organized. I remember one summer during their middle school years, we had 42 baseball games. 5 of them were playing on all different fields. And it was busy, but it was fun. And we learned how to, pack picnics and keep expenses cheap. And then in high school, the dread kind of loosened up because they were in charge of their own schedules, basically. And I live out in the country. Tiffany lives in the city. So you're going to get two different perspectives. My kids could say, hey, I'm going down to Jimmy's house, 4 miles away, and get on their bike and go. I don't know that I would have felt the ability to do that in the city. I think I'm too much of a nervous mama for that. So high school was a little bit different. And now that I have grandkids, like every day is summer because they're babies. They're 3 and 4. And so they, pop in and out of my day. And I have to balance working, because I work full time now, and, playing in the summer. So it kind of, grew and was different. We do a lot of travel in the summer. We always have. We have a little campground that we bought, just a couple of acres of property up in northern Michigan. So a couple times in the summer we go camping. When my kids were in middle school, we left the last day of school. We didn't come home until the day before school started one year. And that was fun. No baseball that year. That was an exciting summer full of growth. Gresham is commenting and she's saying, trying to figure it out still. A bit worried but not too much, since we always tend to do spontaneous things that are within my budget. That the most important thing is that it's fun and educational. Yeah, I agree with that, Gresham. And really, you can make education out of anything. And it doesn't always have to be the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah.
We can do all kinds of growth. I always felt like my kids grew more like interpersonally during the summer, where they had to, kind of be stretched. And Holly, oh, good. Holly, I see your hand raised. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. I'm sorry. I don't know if you see me or not, but
You don't.
I'm trying to figure it out because I too work from home, and I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And we just, this past year relocated to Florida, and our school is super rigorous. Like, I mean, my little guys really have learned a ton. And so trying to find a balance between, like, how do we still make time to read and not lose those skills that we've gained through the school year, and then play too. And then we will spend the whole month of July in Indiana, and they'll go kind of back to the daycare where they were before we moved here. And so I'm also bringing in a teenager from a youth ministry that I was a part of to be my kind of babysitter for the month of June. And so trying to balance, how do I lesson plan, but yet put, ride your bike on the schedule? Because I think that if I don't kind of have a map, it just might not happen. Anyway, there's my take.
I love that, Holly. And I love that you're thinking about how to be both spontaneous and planful, because I think both are super important. It's a challenge for those of us who are working outside the home or even at home, during the summer. But having those moments of spontaneity is kind of, for me, what summer was about. Is when I was a child. My parents were very spontaneous, and my mom didn't work outside the home. So we went on grand adventures at a drop of a dime. And I always tried to have the adventures for my kids while I was working seem spontaneous, but I was planning in the background. I'm a planner too, Holly.
Well,
we have some people in the chat too, Tiff.
In the chat, we have Tammy, and Tammy said it was hard. Terry says it's very stressful. I had to make arrangements for summer camp, vacation Bible school, and YMCA daycare, and I worked full time, right? So I know that was stressful. And then Tasha said, I am trying to figure out how to be in several places at what seems to be at the same time. I have 4 grandkids that live with me, and everyone is in different classes and sports the entire summer. Oh boy, yes. I remember, Tasha, when my kids were in football, and then you had spring camp, and then you had summer cheer. I had this board on the wall, and it's like, okay, I had to utilize my resources and said somebody needs to go with Deja here. Somebody needs to support Grafton there. And I really had to utilize my support systems, but it really helped with my energy and my spirituality. Like, oh my God, I do have this support system that would really help me. And Lawan said, I recall using the activities offered at the school. Yes. My son was so mad at me, Robyn. One year I put him in summer school. He was like, but I don't need it. I said, but I need for you to be there. It was no activities that summer.
I did that a couple of times myself, and the principal would always call me like, Robyn, your kids don't need summer school. I'm like, oh, I assure you they do. Yeah, they weren't happy either, but it was really good for them. I think that, all the studies out there show that, kids lose some ground in the summertime if their parents aren't really diligent or if they don't go to summer school. So I wanted to make sure. And I also just really use that half day of summer school as a little bit of a, respite from them. And then Tasha is adding, I did that too. Summer school is great to keep them grounded. Yes, Tasha, it certainly is.
They learn more. They're ready for the next year, Tasha.
Yeah.
But Robyn, I'm excited this summer. I think this is the first summer that I can say my energy is like through the roof, right? Because I have a new grandbaby that's 3 months old. So I've always wanted, I see those like mommy and me classes and everything. And my daughter ain't gonna do it, but I know I will. And so I want to put him in one of those, put his head through one of those little flotation devices so he can start pedaling and learn how to swim and be used to the water.
That's awesome. My granddaughter Logan had one of those, and they used it on her in the bathtub a lot. It was so cute. I love it. Yeah, we have some. We're excited here at the Harvey house too. We're going to be having a little bit of a summer kickoff party in a few days. That's got my, like juices running and excited. I've been excited to see like summer's presents because I planted a humongous garden this year. And I've been having my kids help with that. Yeah, I would say that now that I don't have the hands-on maintenance of littles, summer has become a little bit more relaxed for me. So those of you who have little kids or parenting, children who need a lot of guidance in the summer, what is your predominant feeling? Are you dreading it? Are you excited? Are you looking forward to school starting in September already? I remember those days. I do.
I think especially after being out for COVID, they've been in the home with you and everything. Even in the summertime, they were in the home with you for 2.5 years. Now, guess what? They get to break out and you get to put them out
Right.
into different activities. I remember when I was younger, my growing up, my mom, we were just like roller skating all the time, which is something my mom knew that we love to do. And we only did it during the school year on Saturday mornings. But as we got older in the summertime, that was just like the place to be.
That's awesome. We had a roller rink like that in DeKalb too. And Jennifer Johnson has her hand raised. Jennifer, if you want to unmute. And you can go ahead whenever.
Can you hear me now?
You can.
Hello. So I have little kids. They are almost 6 and almost 2. And I'm feeling really energized for this summer. And I felt that only starting today because we had my mom here helping with the kids. I work from home for Be Strong Families. And I'm also very lucky that we have like a really family friendly work environment. So my husband and I are staggering our schedules, which is amazing for the kids because they got to be outside with him all morning. I'm going to be outside with them this afternoon. We want a little bit of structure. So Zoe's going to start going to the Park District mini camp just in the mornings. And we might do one little camp with a mommy and me camp one time a week for Owen. And that's just enough for us. We're not really ready for organized sports yet. I don't want to give up my Saturdays yet. And I know it becomes more than that, but that is a little anxiety provoking. But I'm just really excited because spiritually, like the sun gives me so much energy, and it really hasn't before. I used to be like hiding from the sun. I get burned really easily. I wasn't into it. I didn't like summer that much. But this will be our first full summer in our new house, and we're really excited for that. And for the kids, they're just loving the backyard and planting things. Oh, and there's my daughter in the background. So yeah, thank you for letting me share. And I love hearing everybody else's plans because it sure helps.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And Veronica added, just a little anxious having a preschooler starting a new school schedule. Yeah, I can understand that, Veronica. And Andrew says to Jennifer, as a redhead, I can relate with the hiding from the sun thing. Yeah, I'm sure. I used to love to get all nice golden brown tan, and now I'm a big advocate of sunscreen. The older I get and the more wrinkles I see, I'm like, wide brimmed hat, big glasses. Yep. Awesome. Andrew, do you want to put up the next question? Thank you.
So the next question is, what after school or summer rituals or traditions are important to you?
I love this one. This is like, so I grew up camping in northern Michigan. My parents were huge campers, and they rustic camped, like no Yogi Bear with a shower room or those kind of things. We camped on just private property that my grandpa owned. And that is a summer ritual that I kept up with my kids. Thankfully we were able to grab a little tiny piece of property up there, and we always spend 4th of July in Michigan. And we always go to the same fireworks on the lake. We always sit in the same place, same exact place. We always eat the exact same food. And we have most of the exact same people, like lots of friends and family come. And it's like my one time of year that it's kind of like Christmas for me. And it's really not even all about the whole like 4th of July holiday or Independence Day or anything like that. It's about the family time and the spending of it every year. Like I have 13 pictures of my kids growing up on the same wall sitting on 4th of July. And when one of my kids is missing, it kind of hurts my heart a little bit. That's one of my favorite traditions for summer.
I don't know that. Do I have traditions? And I think my mom passed away 8 years ago, and her tradition was always 4th of July. So my mom was very low key type woman, but 4th of July, she was willing like to feed the whole city of Chicago, right? And we would go to Lincoln Park Zoo, and she would put like 4th of July stuff everywhere to mark her spot. And she would be out there like 3:30 in the morning, Robyn, barbecuing at 3:30 in the morning. And so as I got older, I was the one who would bring the side dishes. Well, needless to say, it was traditional that the side dishes did not get there till about 10 to 11 because I was not getting out my bed at 3:30 in the morning and bringing side dishes to the park. So that was one ritual. It's one thing about having a small family and living in the city where our traditions are more geared toward traveling. And right now this year we are doing so I have family reunion.
Oh, fun.
Our family reunion is in Houston, and it's for a weekend. It's actually right after the 4th of July, which I have a big ritual that I do with my friends for the 4th of July. We on a rooftop and we see all the fireworks in the city just going all off, which is utterly amazing. I guess now that I got older and my kids are older, they're doing their own things. And so my rituals and traditions would be just a tad bit different from when I was growing up.
Yeah. What about anybody else? What after school or summer rituals or traditions are important to you?
Andrew?
Sorry, had to put the question back up. I'm just kind of thinking about the summer tradition that we always had of what Saturdays became. In retrospect, I'm very happy that it was this way. When it was, actually happening, less so. But basically, what happened was during the school, months, Saturday was a day of rest. It was a day where we could just do our own thing and kind of reset from the school week, everything like that. And then when summer hit, there was a flip where suddenly all of the weekdays were more days that could go do our own thing. And Saturday became a day of working around the house and working outside. And it was one of those things of being able to, I grew up in the country and we had a little garden, the vegetable garden and the flower gardens, which my mom was always either expanding and or revising. So it was great one year of like, let's move all the rocks and create a rock garden here. And then the next year you get to take it across the other side of the house. But it was one of those things of flipping the mentality around a Saturday, the way that you approach a Saturday. And after the work was done for the day, we would have a big meal. We would, and we would just kind of create a tradition around that. And that really helped me with my work ethic. And it is something that I'm glad it happened. During the time, it was mostly me and my siblings complaining about how it wasn't fair that Saturday, that happened.
Yeah, that was typical in my house too, Andrew.
Mhm.
The complaining about the work, and now they're
Oh,
all
yeah.
happy about it. Pam offered, my son was a dedicated member of our local YMCA. He did day camp there and was on the sports team in the evening and weekends. Thanks, Pam. And then Sarah is saying, every year on the last day of school, I take my kids out for ice cream. I've done this every year since my kids started school. Even now that my kids are in middle and high school, they still look forward to getting ice cream to kick off the start of summer vacation. Thank you. And go ahead and unmute Holly.
All right. Well, I feel like, okay, and I'm not at all trying to be a Debbie Downer. My parents are gone, and we were a small family, and I adopted at 42, and so I kind of, a lot of our family's chosen, and we have developed just a really great community around us, both in where we came from and now where we are, and so some of the traditions are like not deeply rooted, but I think I just feel like it's a real priority in the 4 years that I've had children. And so my kids love Vacation Bible School, and we're kind of groupies. So we go to a Vacation Bible School at least twice during the summer at different churches that we love a lot. And so and my kids talk about it throughout the year and really look forward to it. And then just a tradition that my nephew was born on the 4th of July. And so making it a priority that even though we no longer live in Indiana, Ohio, that we're going to try to always be back for the 4th of July. They kind of keep that sense of like our nuclear family and spending time with them. My sister lives on a lake, and they set off fireworks over a dam. And so it's a little bit kind of nostalgic, that just kind of going home for 4th of July. I want to kind of set that as a priority in my kids' lives, like so that when we look back over their life, they're able to kind of come back and see that. So I don't know. I'm still figuring it out as we go.
I love that, Holly. I have a kid that's born on the 6th of July, and he always tells people with pride that he's never had a birthday cake because he always has a half a watermelon with sparklers in it. So he always tells people, no, I don't have a birthday cake. I have watermelon.
Aww.
Thanks, Holly. Appreciate you coming back on. And then Larissa said having a family picnic and scavenger hunt. I love that, Larissa. That's so cool. Do you guys buy the scavenger hunt or do you make it up? I'd love to hear more about that.
I would think Larissa makes it up.
Yeah?
But
That's your vote?
Find things. Yeah, it's my vote that she goes and she makes it up, where they will go and find things either all over the house. Or
Oh, look, Larissa's raising her hand. So go ahead, Larissa, on unmute.
Am I right, Larissa?
absolutely right. Yep. So what we do is, depending on where we go, we will figure out the items like an hour beforehand. We've even got very creative. So there was a Dairy Queen close by, so you had to find a wrapper with a Dairy Queen. You had to find a spoon, a straw, and one time we even had it where we did do a local park and they had to go up to someone and randomly ask, do you have a can I can have? Some people gave them pop cans or literally a can of beans. So it was really fun. So if we did collect any food, we made a creative food out of it. So we've had lots of fun with that.
That's really great, Larissa. Thanks so much for raising your hand and coming on. Tasha's saying, when my children were younger, I enjoyed getting audiobooks from the library and we listened to stories together as a family. Look, Tasha, my husband has forced that for years, and my kids are always like, can we just listen to music? We don't want to hear any more books. But yes, I love that. I'd have them do book reports. Oh, we didn't think of that. I wish I would have. It was so fun to sit and hear stories as a family. Also, we did camping at Yogi Bear Campground. I love Yogi Bear. Always going there is a treat to me. Thanks. Anybody else want to share some of their favorite traditions or rituals of summer?
I wish I could just zap my kiddos, back until they were like younger again. So I can just I need a redo, Robyn. I think I just need a
Well, now you got
redo.
grandbabies, and I'm so thrilled because I have grandbabies too. And in a couple of years, when they're not 3 and 4, maybe when they're in like grade school age, my dream is to have a grandma camp where
Oh,
they
a
all
grandma
come.
camp.
Yeah, WT, he has a grandpa camp, grandparent camp, and I want to mimic that. I think that that is like so beautiful that my grandkids would get to spend a week with me, and I'd get to share my life with them. I think that my grandparents didn't do a camp, but we had lots of holidays and like weekends at grandma's, and those are priceless to me. And I just want to kind of, do that. Tammy Franklin, go ahead and unmute.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I come from a very small rural county. And so every third Sunday in July, anybody that was ever born in Hickman County comes back. So every third Sunday in July, we have thousands, and it's very small, but we have thousands of people that come into the county for this big reunion. We call it family reunion, but it's everybody. So my kids have gone to it ever since they were born. And so I have grandbabies. And so I am making it a point this year because I have a 2-month-old and a 3-year-old. And this will be their first time getting there. So, because they were overseas the last 2 or 3 years. So, this will be their first time to experience, we call it Third Sunday. So, Third Sunday in July. So, that's one great tradition that I've done it since I was 0 and I'm 59. So, it has been going on for many, many, many years.
Wow.
That's awesome. I love that.
Third Sunday.
That's so great. And then Holly is also offering, we are reading Anne of Green Gables aloud as a family and planning weekly random acts of kindness too. I love Anne of Green Gables. That's my New Year's tradition, but I'll save that for a January webinar. Awesome.
Good thing about Robyn with traditions is I create, now that I'm older, and my kids are older and they're living their own lives, I've actually created more traditions with my friends versus my kiddos. We have annual days of giving where we all clean out our closets and we take them to the domestic violence shelter, and we do that twice a year. So being with my friends and women that are on the same level with me at that given time, and we're like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. So we have done like so many things over these past 2 years. I was like, wow, my life is not boring now that I'm home alone.
Yeah, that's great. And somebody else had mentioned too that they had a very small family and that they kind of had created their own family. And I think that that is beautiful and not as uncommon as we might
Yep.
think. I know that I have a lot of friends that are like my family, or maybe even more
Mhm.
like intimately involved in my life than maybe my biological family is. Awesome. All right,
Family is
Andrew,
not
do you want to
always
set up?
blood. Family is not
Yes,
always blood.
isn't that the truth? Andrew, you want to put the third question?
So now that we are approaching the summertime, what brings you joy? For me, it is my 3-month-old grandbaby. He brings me joy in the summertime. I'm going to be like this classy Gigi that's going to be pushing him. And we're going to go to the Shed Aquarium and the Field Museum. And right by my house is Lincoln Park Zoo. And we're going to go to, I don't know about the beach. We'll find a swimming pool somewhere. But we're going to go to some pretty cool places this summer so I can just show off that handsome, gorgeous little dimples in his face. I'm so excited about. I can't wait. My energy is high from this summer.
I love that. And one of the things that brings me joy in the summer is really simple. And this year, my 3-year-old granddaughter who lives in my home with me and her parents, she reminds me of it almost every day. And that is we go and we lay in the grass and we look at the clouds together. And she says to me, Grammy, let's go outside and just look at the clouds. And just laying there and watching the birds and the clouds and the planes go by, it's just peaceful and grounding and something that I look forward to so much, and just
Yes.
brings me joy and peace, and it's great. And you can't really always do that in the spring or the obviously not the winter, um, the summer and the fall. So, question: what brings you joy during the summertime?
I
Where do
think
you?
the sun outside. I see the kids. I think what tugs at my heartstrings is when I'm driving
Mhm.
and the kids down here are holding on to the rope and I beat my horn and they all wave while they're outside and holding on to the rope in line and everything. And I was just like, oh, that just tugs at my heartstrings. I remember when my kiddos were babies and they would hold on to the rope, but I would actually run a different direction because I don't want them to see me,
Mhm.
right? Because they'll want to go home with me. But
Right.
it just tugs at my heartstrings seeing the kiddos outside and
I
having
love
such a
that.
good time.
I love that. My very best friend, Tina, she also has 8 children. And when we would take our kids out on group activities, people would say, like, what daycare do you come from? We're like, no, just two moms, two crazy moms, these big families. That's funny. Longer days to spend outside or to spend outside with the kids. Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Larissa. I love that
Yes.
too. I love that. And Holly's offering, we are right near the beach and it gives our family joy. We are going to be intentional about packing a lunch and heading to the beach once a week. I love that. When I go on my July vacation, I go to the beach every day, Holly. I love the beach. I love the sand. I know Tiffany doesn't like the sand. I love the sand. I love, just putting my blanket down and reading all afternoon and listening to the waves. It's just so cool. And Tasha's saying, I'd love to sit outside early in the morning in my garden and play sounds of water flowing while listening to the birds, watching the sun come up. That's beautiful, Tasha.
Yeah.
And Tammy says, what brings me the joy in summer? Being outside in my flower garden with my granddaughter. That's my happy place. I'd love to hear what you got planted, Tammy. I just planted a big hummingbird garden in my garden this year. I'm super excited about it.
Wow. And see, that's the difference from living in the city. Living in the city, you really can't, I'm in a condo, so I can't plant any gardens. But what I decided to do was add me a chair and a little desk to my balcony and
Awesome.
start working from the balcony. Well, Robin, until I started hearing the train and the fire department and the police car, I'm like, just forget it. I'll go to Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least you have a chair out there. I imagine that's, can be a
The
nice
air feels
place to
so good.
to just be outside
Yeah.
after a long day.
The air
I love
feels
that. And
good.
now that you aren't working outside, you can get some containers and plant some herbs out there.
Oh, you have to teach me to do that. I don't know that I'm a green thumb, but I probably am.
Oh, herbs are
Not
so
sure.
easy.
Not sure.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yep.
Anybody else? What brings you joy in the summer?
Besides a Mai Tai on the beach in another country, because that brings me plenty of
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah, I was thinking too, like for me, like my chickens get to be outside, my baby chickens are growing up. It's just a fun time. Yesterday, we were planting some stuff in the garden. A couple of my last plants needed to get in. And I took my little granddaughter out there and I put our teenage chickens, they're about 6, 7 weeks old now. And they were just like resting on Sabrina as she was laying in the grass. It was the cutest pictures. And she was like, oh, look at my friends. Look at my friends. It's just, you just look at that and think like the world is so complicated. There's so much crap going on all the time. You hear on the news, you hear on Facebook, blah, 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 blah. But those simple things always bring me back to like, this is really what matters. This simple stuff. Jennifer said being with friends in their backyards. Yes,
Yeah.
Jennifer, come on over anytime. Tasha, cookouts bring joy. Yes, I love that. Fun to sit out and cook and enjoy the family around the grill. I agree.
Yes.
And Jennifer saying taking my kids to the pool and seeing them have so much fun. Yes, Jennifer is from my community and we have a great kiddie pool at our family pool. It's really awesome. I used to go sit in there, not have little kids. I would just take my friends who did have kids.
Amani said summer movie releases with the kids.
What are you looking forward to?
Yes, you made me think about something because by my house, they have movies in the park, Robyn, here in the city.
Yeah.
So when they have movies in the park, you get those kiddos, you get their little chairs and everything, and you sit out in the park and you look at the movies, you get their popcorn. And I think somebody said something about making those picnic baskets. I used to do that with my kiddos when they were little. I would, have my bonus babies, which is my boyfriend's kids at the time, and my kids, and I would pack a lunch and we would go and sit at the zoo and we would have lunch and on the blanket and they would play like crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I was such an awesome mom. I'm so
You
boring
were.
now,
You still
Robyn.
are.
I'm boring. I'm so boring now that they're older.
No,
I gotta get that inner me in.
Yeah, I get that. I want to go back to Amani's. And is there any kids movies that you're looking forward to, Amani, coming out? I know that my whole family is on pins and needles waiting for the new Jurassic Park to come out, which comes out in July. And then I read a book a couple summers ago now, Where the Crawdads Sing by Dahlia Owens. And that's coming out as a movie. I'm so super excited. So I'm on board with that. Andrew said the feeling of walking around and seeing options of food, activities, social events, etc. It's small, but within the last 2 years, I'm taking more time just to appreciate the joy of options and safety in comparison to the last 2 years. Yes. And Tammy is saying my flower garden includes fan hydrangeas, pretty, oak leaf hydrangeas. Well, you got a lot of hydrangeas. Queen Elizabeth roses, amaryllis, irises, azaleas, and daylilies. Where are you at? Oh, and Amani is a Marvel family. Yay. Awesome. My kids are into Marvel. My kids and my husband, that's their thing. So that's awesome.
I do know here in my community, because I live in Old Town, we have an art festival every year and I never go. And it's at the end of my block. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create me a new tradition. And I'm going to start visiting more in my community after listening, seeing Andrew's comment. And I'm going to be walking around my community to see exactly what is in my community, because I'm pretty sure there's more in this community than the beach, the zoo, and the Magnificent Mile.
And the Chicago Grinder Company.
And the Chicago Grinder Company.
It's my favorite. That's awesome. Andrew, do you want to go ahead and go to that last question, please? We're running a little bit out of time. So our last question is really going to transition us into the June webinars, but still kind of staying on topic for the day. We're going to talk about the social vitality. Remember, this is all about the people who support you and the energy that gives your life. During the time that school is out, what do you do for fun? And whom do you have fun with? That whom always throws me off. We talked about that before the webinar. During the time that school is out, what do you do for fun? And whom do you have fun with? So for me, it's my friends and my family. Summer's about, I don't know. I feel like because it's not so dark out, I have extra time, in my life. I don't it doesn't get dark at 5 o'clock anymore. It gets dark at 10. So I have like these 5 hours that I can kind of fill in with visits and stuff. And then Ruby has her hand raised. Ruby, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, Ruby.
Okay, hi. Oh, I have fun with family, my grandkids, and going to the park, and that's what I have fun with when school is out. Driving, trying to teach some teenagers how to drive. I got teenagers now,
Get that.
16. Yeah, I told them I'll be glad when they get their license so they can drive. In a way. Yeah, but other than that, that's why I have fun with my grandkids.
Thanks, Ruby.
Okay.
Anybody else? Who do you have fun with during the summer? And what do you do?
I'm so looking forward to July, because July, we've been let down 2 years in a row due to COVID. And so I'm going to the Cincinnati Music Festival, which me and my friends do every year, to hear great music. And Janet Jackson is the headliner. So I'm
wow.
super excited
Yeah,
that I finally get to
fun.
go back to the Cincinnati Music Festival.
That's
See
great.
all these, Robyn, they got so many food trucks. Oh my goodness, it's just like a day of food trucks. And we also visited I think it's the Railroad Museum. There's a
Oh,
railroad
that's fun
museum
too.
here, which is really, really good.
And Gretchen, yeah, go ahead, Tiffany, read that out loud. That's Gretchen.
Gretchen said, but I do appreciate family and friends, of course.
Right, but did you see the first comment? She wrote, learn to have fun by myself. Love and enjoy the solo parties. There's Gretchen having a solo party. I love that.
Goodness.
And Andrew's offering, I have fun with my wife and her family. She has a bunch of nieces and nephews running around, and every time we go over, they are insisting we do every activity ever before we leave. I've really come to into my own with Beyblade skills as a result. Good for you, Andrew. We'll have to have a little war. My kids did Beyblade too. I'm pretty vicious.
And TikTok has taught me to do a lot of adult fun games with my friends in the backyard for those barbecues. So I'm super excited for the summertime.
Yeah, so I'm having a Memorial Day party, and I'm trying to convince my husband to paint on the lawn a huge twister game. Yeah, we'll see if I win, right? Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
I have another game for you too.
What?
So it's a cup, and you have to fill the cup behind you without looking. And it has to go, and you have to fill the bucket all the way at the back. So it's like 6 people, and you got to fill the cup. And then fill the bucket in the back.
Really wet. Hopefully it's a hot day.
I hope so.
Right? Awesome. All right. Anybody else? Who are you going to have fun with this summer? And what are you going to be doing? It's kind of a great way to end our time together.
Summertime fun is just like the best. It's like we haven't been having fun, like good old fashioned fun in 2.5 years.
And Lawan's offering with family and my grandson. Thank you, Lawan. I think that, Tiffany, that was like the big impetus for me getting my friends and family together for the Memorial Day barbecue, because I miss people. I miss just being in their presence, and the energy that I get from my friends and my family, and just being in in a crowd. COVID was pretty lonely.
Mhm.
Awesome. Is anybody else want to answer this question before we start closing down? Jennifer Johnson's birthday is for my husband and both kids. Wow, you're going to have lots of parties, Jen. That's great. Tasha saying my adult children and most of my grandchildren have birthdays during the summer. So we'll be celebrating each of them this summer. That's great. That's awesome. I love summer birthdays. We have just a couple. Most of our birthdays are in the winter. And Tammy, graduation parties for my friends' children. Yes, I got a whole list of those to go to as well. Ruby, I'm having my foster son's July 2nd, a birthday skating party. He'll be 8. That's great.
Wow.
You should invite Tiffany. She'll be there with
Yes.
her roller skates on.
Whoop, whoop. I'll be there.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? All right, Andrew, you can go ahead and go to that next slide then.
They're good, Robyn. It looks like everybody is going to have a good time this summer.
Yes, it does. They're going to mind their spirituality and they're going to, keep that energy level high and good. And one way to do that is by amplifying it. And so our amplify hashtag for today is amplify schools out. So if you'd like to offer up what you're going to be amplifying this summer, then you can put it right into the chat as a hashtag, and I'm going to amplify fun with an exclamation point. All right. All right. So if you want to slip that in there, Andrew, amplify, pulls out, schools out. That's hilarious. Amplify rest, amplify self-care. These are all good. Amplify sunshine. Yes. Hopefully we have lots of sun this summer. Perfect. All right. Next slide. Amplify hot days. Yay. Not too hot though. All right. Every Friday, Be Strong Families offers a taste of cafe. This is a parent cafe in a shorter version. It is online. This week's cafe is called Faith Over Fear. We'll be focusing on the vitality domain of spirituality. That begins at noon Central Standard Time. This Friday, there is a QR code there. If you'd like to zap it with your phone, you can register. The link is also in the chat if you can do that. And Ruby's offering hashtag fun. Awesome. All right, Andrew, next slide. And then we have in June a variety of fun events that'll bring us together in community wellness and growth. If you look at that hashtag, and Andrew put the link in the chat again, you can join us as Be Strong Families springs into vitality. All right, if you have missed any of our webinars and you're wanting to catch up and see what we've been up to, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can see any of them. Oh, actually, I've kind of skipped ahead. This one is actually our Be Strong Families webinar for Wednesday, every Monday and Wednesday. Monday is presented in English, while Wednesdays are presented in Spanish. For the listing of those, there is a link in the chat and a QR code on the screen. Now here goes my YouTube. If you have missed any of our webinars, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of the past webinars. And again, the QR code and the link are in their respective places. And I just want to say thank you. This has been a fun hour for me. It's just the highlight of my day. And I am so glad that you spent it with Be Strong Families. On behalf of myself and Tiffany and all of us at Be Strong Families, you guys have a great day, a great week, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.